Good morning from Belgrade, Serbia. I am in the center of Belgrade. Right behind me is the Church of Saint Sava, a beautiful Orthodox church, a historic, important church in the center of Belgrade, and it's very impressive. It is a massive structure, very, very large, and I believe it is one of the biggest Orthodox churches in the world and the biggest Orthodox church in the region, in Central Europe, in the Balkan region, if I'm not mistaken. But it's impressive, and we'll take a walk, get closer to the church, and we'll go inside for a bit as well. Take a quick look inside of Saint Sava. So let's talk about some news, though. We've got to talk about some stuff going on in the world. And yesterday, in my video, I talked about, in my video update, I talked about how Ukraine President Elensky was trying to get in touch with Xi Jinping of China to try and figure out a way to pry China away from Russia, to get China onto Ukraine's side, and to get Xi Jinping to speak with Putin and to tell Putin, look, lay off of Ukraine, stop the war, surrender, and if you don't, China's not going to support you. That was pretty much the summary of Elensky's message to China, and this was done via an interview, an article/interview from the South China Morning Post. And in my video update yesterday, I said, Zelensky takes all his orders from the collective West. So they must have given him these orders to try and come in contact with Xi Jinping and China, to try to push China away from Russia and onto the collective West's side. But a couple of stories came out yesterday, and it's kind of led me to rethink the fact that Elensky was trying to contact China under the orders of Sullivan and Blinken and all of these puppeteers of Elensky. And the two pieces of news that have now changed my mind about this and now lead me to believe that Elensky was perhaps acting on his own and perhaps acting out of fear and panic for his own position and his own safety is an article from Amnesty International, an article statement from Amnesty International, and a statement from Nato, which not many people are talking about. And I don't know if everyone remembers, but about a week ago, Jake Sullivan was at the Aspen Security Summit, and he said that he feared for Elensky's life. He said that while he was at a summit with all these CIA, FBI guys in Aspen. And he said that he's afraid that the Russians might try to take Zelensky out. And he was afraid for Elensky's life. And at the time, I was kind of saying, when people like Sullivan make these statements, it's projection. You know that what they're saying about the Russians, what they're afraid the other side is going to do to Elensky, is actually what they're talking about doing to Elensky. So that kind of raised some alarm bells with regards to Elensky's position as president of Ukraine. Well, yesterday we had this Amnesty International article, which I'm sure everyone is aware of. Amnesty International, this champion of human rights. I'm not such a believer in Amnesty International and that mantra, but anyway, they're known as this champion of human rights. They came out with a report saying that the Russians have committed war crimes and atrocities and stuff like that. But the important part of their report is that they said that Ukraine they are committing atrocities and war crimes because they place civilians in harm's way. In other words, Ukraine uses civilians regularly they use civilians as human shields. And everyone flipped out. Elensky flipped out, and you know he's condemning the Amnesty International reports. You had the foreign minister of Ukraine flip out and say this is terrible what Amnesty International is saying about Ukraine. How dare you? And anyway, a lot of high government officials in the Elensky production staff, they were flipping out over this Amnesty International article, this revelation from Amnesty International that Ukraine is indeed using the Ukraine military. They are using civilians as human shields in this conflict. And I just thought to myself, I said, okay, so a couple of days ago, you have the South China Morning Post running this article and this interview saying that Elensky wants to speak with Xi Jinping. He really needs to speak with China. Now you have this Amnesty International article saying that Elensky is essentially committing war crimes. And Amnesty International, to me, is also a tool of the collective West. They position themselves as this organization that champions human rights and stuff like that, but I've always known them to be a mouthpiece of the collective West and a way to demonize regimes that the collective West wants to take out, wants to remove. And so Amnesty International runs these hit pieces on various regimes, saying these leaders in certain countries are dictators and they commit war crimes. The deep state in the US and the collective West, they use these Amnesty International reports to say, you see, they committed war crimes, this guy's a dictator, we need regime change. You know, that's how I've always pictured Amnesty International. Just another tool in the tool belt of the collective West to so that they can institute any type of regime change policies or war or sanctions or anything like that. And so when this article came out, I just thought to myself, Sullivan, about 2 weeks ago, speaking at the Aspen Security Forum, saying that Elensky is, you know, he needs to look out. He needs to watch out because of the Russians, right? Because of the Russians. He needs to watch out for the Russians. That was interesting. Then you had Elensky approaching Xi Jinping, trying to approach Xi Jinping and saying, dude, help me out. Help me out. And he may have done this without the consent of his puppet masters. He may have gone behind his puppet master's back. And there's a reason for that. And then you have this Amnesty International report, which is really one of the first reports that paint the Elensky regime as committing war crimes. Elensky's a bad dude, is the conclusion that you get from this Amnesty International report. And then you had NATO, Stoltenberg, coming out with a statement yesterday saying that the goal of NATO with regards to Ukraine, and this is a direct quote from Stoltenberg, in this conflict, NATO has two tasks: supporting Ukraine and preventing the war from escalating into a full-scale war between NATO and Russia. NATO's goals, their task right now is to support Ukraine, very, very light, very ambiguous statement there, and to prevent the war from escalating into a full-scale war between NATO and Russia. None of this. NATO's goal is to help Ukraine win, which was their goal 3 months ago. NATO's goal is to continue to arm Ukraine so they defeat Russia. That was their goal a couple of months ago. NATO's goal a couple of months ago was unwavering support for Ukraine no matter what, and to give Russia a bloody nose. That was the goal about a month ago. And now you have the goal as, kind of help Ukraine. Yeah, our goal is to help Ukraine, but really our goal is to prevent a war between NATO and Russia. That's really our main goal now. So all of these things taken together leads me to believe that Elensky is panicking. He's starting to realize that he is going to get thrown under the bus. He is going to be the excuse that the Biden White House uses when everything collapses as to why things went so badly in Ukraine. They're going to blame it all on Zelensky, and he's looking for a way out. So he contacts China. He's trying to figure out, how do I get out of this mess? Sullivan is talking about, taking me out. Someone's going to try to take me out, and he's worried for my safety. Amnesty International is now saying that we're committing war crimes. NATO is coming out with statements saying our real goal is just to prevent a war between NATO and Russia. Ukraine, yeah, we're just going to support them. That's it. And Zelensky's starting to freak out. And you had the Pentagon defense officials who actually told the Biden White House things are collapsing in Ukraine. They are losing very, very bad. Things have maybe 3 to 4 weeks before it all crumbles. And there was a great article from Larry Johnson on Sonar 21 on his website, where he details this warning from defense officials to the Biden White House, saying that Ukraine doesn't have much road left. And the Biden White House, well, I believe they're going to definitely throw Elensky under the bus. They cannot afford another Afghanistan moment. They have to pin the blame on someone. And this Amnesty International article, along with NATO's statements, lead me to believe that they're going to turn Elensky from a hero to a zero, and they're going to do it quickly. He is going to be someone who puts civilians in harm's way. He is going to be branded someone who mismanaged the conflict, who didn't listen to the Biden White House, who didn't take advice from the Biden White House. And no matter how hard NATO and the United States tried to support and help Ukraine, it was just the Elensky regime that just couldn't put it together. And that is why in 3-4 weeks, you're going to have this collapse. Not because of the collective West policy, but because of just the poor leadership from Elensky. And have we forgotten to tell everybody in the collective West that Amnesty International says he uses civilians as shields? And that's going to, of course, lead to all kinds of outrage from citizens of the collective West. They're going to say, oh my God, I thought this guy was a hero. I can't believe he was doing this. And that is the fate of Elensky. And of course, the military situation on the ground is terrible. Real quick, what you have going on in Ukraine, you have the Russian military. They are moving in to take Bakhmut, which is a very important city in the Donbass, which is really the main supply route, supply line for the Ukraine military in the east. They're moving there. They're moving towards Slavyansk and Kramatorsk, which will be the final battle of Donetsk. They're in the process of surrounding the very heavily fortified city of Avdiivka, which is the city that the Ukraine military uses to shell Donetsk. And we had more shelling yesterday. But that is the very, very fortified city that they have been using to attack Donetsk. And the Russians are grinding down the Ukraine military from north and from the south, and they're close to breaking through there. It's going to take some time because the Ukraine military was very dug into this city that they used to shell Donetsk, but the Russian army is making progress there. And we have the great offensive, not counteroffensive, the great offensive that will take place, not from Ukraine, but from the Russians. The great Kherson, Kryvyi Rih. There's a fountain here, so it may be a little noisy. A city known as Kryvyi Rih, and perhaps Nikolaev. You're going to have a Russian offensive Not the Ukraine military, Kherson, south of Ukraine counteroffensive, but a Russian offensive. And this is even according to Arestowitch, who is Elensky's Baghdad Bob #1 propagandist, the court jester of the Elensky regime. He is even starting to say that the Russians are getting ready for a big offensive in the south of Ukraine. Interestingly, the city of Kryvyi Rog is actually the, I believe, the birthplace of Elensky. That is his hometown, and it looks like the Russians are gearing up for something very, very big in the south of Ukraine. So the great Kherson counteroffensive was once again more projection. Everything they were saying they were going to do is actually shaping up to be something that the Russians are going to do. So let's film this as we enter the entrance. And so that is the news with Elensky. That is the news with what's going on the ground. If you want to get more detail as to what's going on from the military standpoint of things, then check out Alexander's channel. He does a really good summary of everything that is happening on the ground with Donbass, with Slavyansk, Kramatorsk, Avdiivka, and the Russian offensive that looks like it's going to happen. It looks like it's going to happen. It might not, but even Arestowitch is concerned about this. So let's take a minute pause and let's walk in real quick. All right, beautiful church. Let's talk turbines. Let's talk turbines. So we've got another update with regards to the turbines. we have Siemens lashing out at Gazprom. We have Gazprom giving their response to Siemens. And basically Siemens is saying that they've handed over all the documentation. Everything is okay with the turbines. They're, according to the UK, which the UK was also involved in all of this. Let me pull it up because I have to, One second. I kind of forget what was the UK's role in this turbine fiasco. And there's a Reuters article which actually outlines it. So let's see. Russian gas exporter Gazprom reiterated sanctions imposed by Canada, the European Union, and Britain prevented the equipment from being shipped back to Russia. It added 3 other turbines also needed major overhauls, and only one of 6 main gas turbines was currently working at the Nord Stream 1 pipeline, excluding an emergency spare. That means it can pump no more than 33 million cubic meters of gas per day, or about a fifth of capacity, it said in a statement. And Russia's Kommersant newspaper cited a source familiar with the details as saying that on August 3rd, Gazprom received a package of documents from Siemens Energy, including a green light from German Federal Office for Economic Affairs and Exports Control for the turbine to pass customs control until July 26, 2023. Siemens Energy also told Gazprom there was no need for an official sanctions explanation from the European Commission, and that the United Kingdom had also confirmed to Gazprom in writing that there were no sanctions preventing the return of the turbine, Kommersant said. The paper added there was no need for a separate transportation waiver as the turbine is not covered by any sanctions, and that Siemens Energy was ready to support maintenance of the Nord Stream 1 equipment by providing a resident engineer. So, they've received assurances from Germany, from the UK as well, from Canada, that they've gotten the documentation, and they're saying that the turbine is not falling under sanctions and everything's okay. And even if you want a resident on-site person, I imagine in Russia, to fix things, Siemens will provide it. Just get the gas flowing again is pretty much the statement. But Gazprom has said, well, we can't do this. And there's many reasons for Gazprom saying this. Now, of course, there's the reason that they're playing with with Germany and the European Union, right? They're toying around with them and they're doing this on purpose, okay? But leave that aside. There are many technical reasons for Gazprom to say that they can't accept the turbine. Once again, the big reason is the fact that they're just fed up with this going back and forth. That's a big reason. They've had enough. They don't want to deal with this anymore. There's the issue of chain of custody. The agreements, perhaps the agreements between Gazprom and Siemens, I'm sure were very specific and said that the turbine, if it falls for maintenance, if it needs maintenance, it has a certain procedure and it has to go to certain locations. There's no doubt that that chain of custody has been broken. It has not been delivered in the way that I'm positive the terms of the cooperation dictate. And so the collective West, Germany, has had to figure out workarounds in order to get the turbine to Russia because of the sanctions, and Canada was not willing to send it straight to Russia, so they had to send it to Germany. Well, they broke the chain of custody, and they most definitely violated the terms of how to repair this turbine. And finally, the sanctions. What Gazprom is saying is that they cannot proceed with fixing things because they don't know whether this important piece of equipment is free from sanctions. They don't have guarantees saying that this turbine and any subsequent turbines, and perhaps any other maintenance that needs to take place with regards to Nord Stream 1, will not in future dates will not be sanctioned, which would cause other disruptions to the cooperation. And so they don't want to take that risk. They want assurances that Nord Stream 1 and the equipment that needs to be maintained with regards to Nord Stream 1 is going to be free from sanctions. They can't have just, verbal guarantees. They want documentation to say, we will never, not now, not ever, be sanctioning this equipment and stuff that is connected to Nord Stream 1. And it looks like Gazprom's not getting that. So that is the situation. Of course, I believe that Gazprom is absolutely playing around with Germany and with the European Union, and they're finding a lot of excuses to turn off the gas. But these excuses are pretty good. These are pretty good technical excuses. The chain of custody, the fact that they need guarantees with regards to the sanctioning of equipment connected to Nord Stream 1. These are good technical excuses, and Gazprom is using those as excuses. Meanwhile, you have the Collective West saying, please turn on the gas. Please accept this turbine. Please accept it. Please take it. We're suffering here. We're going to freeze in 3 months. Please accept this. And Gazprom is saying, no can do. No can do. And also the statement from Kommersant said that they have another 3 turbines that are in bad condition and are going to need repair. 3 more. So you already have 2, and you have another 3 that are going to have to undergo this same process. Oh man, what a disaster! A complete disaster. A disaster for Olaf Scholz, a disaster for the European Union, a disaster for Canada. Just a complete disaster. And if they can't fix this one, this is the first turbine that we're talking about too. This is not the second one. And then they have a second one, and then another 3 in need of repair. It's lights out. Figuratively and literally, it's lights out for Nord Stream 1. And all because Olaf Scholz and Justin Trudeau, all because they couldn't figure out a simple way to just fix the turbine and send it from Canada to Russia. Was it so critical for the Canadian government to avoid sending the turbine to Russia? They had to go via Germany. Was this such a big issue for Canada? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Olaf Scholz really blew it. He really made a mess of things. So that is the updates with regards to this turbine. It could have all been solved if Canada just said, we're going to have to send this according to procedure and according to the terms of the agreement. Let's just fix this thing and send it to Russia. No big deal. If anything, we have to do this so that our allies, our good friends in Germany, don't run into problems. But maybe Canada was doing it on purpose. Maybe part of the plan, maybe this is part of the plan to continue to deindustrialize Germany. And so the orders given to Trudeau were, don't send this to Russia. Delay, stall, cause problems. Maybe Olaf Scholz is completely oblivious to all of this. He has no understanding what is going on and what is being done to Germany. No understanding. I don't think Justin Trudeau has much of an understanding either, but, Trudeau takes his orders and that's that. Klaus Schwab tells him delay, and Trudeau says, okay, Klaus, okay, I'll delay, whatever you say, but you know that this is going to hurt Germany. You know that Germany's going to freeze. But Schwab and Sullivan and Blinken and people on top of Schwab and Sullivan and Blinken, They're like, just do it, Justin. Just delay and cause problems. And Justin is a good foot soldier, and he'll do it. So that is the situation with the gas and the turbine. This thing is not going to be resolved anytime soon. And Germany doesn't have the time.
Možete mi dati 1800 dinara, molim vas, po svima. Thank you.
You're welcome. And let's do a clown world. I think we can do a clown world. By the way, Erdogan is in Sochi today. Very interesting. Very, very interesting there. And Arestovich is saying that the Russians have received 46 drones from Iran, and they are using those drones. Arestovich, you can't take what he says, too seriously. But in this case, I wouldn't be surprised. The clown world now. Let's do a clown world. Yes. Orban was in the U.S. as well. And he gave an interesting speech at CPAC, I believe in Texas. Actually, let me read you what Orban says, and we'll go into our clown world. Orban said this during his speech at CPAC. We want a different future for ourselves, so let the globalists go to hell. And I came to Texas. I love it. That's a great shirt, isn't it? Let the globalists go to hell, and I came to Texas. That is awesome. That is awesome. So that's the speech from the Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. Clown world. Bidenopoulos, Greece's favorite son, Joe Bidenopoulos. Well, he's really upset about the Brittany Griner verdict that came down yesterday. She has been sentenced to 9 years in a Russian penal colony. 9 years for bringing in narcotics, hashish, cannabis, into Russia. And she pleaded guilty, to be quite honest. She said that she was guilty. Her claim was that, her defense was that as she was packing, basically her defense, in a nutshell, her defense was as she was packing, she didn't see the cartridges of marijuana and cannabis that I guess you smoke it through these e-cigarettes, I guess. I'm not even so sure how it works. But she didn't see the cartridges, and they made their way into her luggage, and she got busted. Either way, she's going 9 years in a Russian penal colony unless Biden can secure that prisoner swap. And the Russians have asked for the two people to be returned, not just about the arms dealer. And he wasn't only an arms dealer for the Russian side, he was an arms dealer for everybody. The US, Russia, you name it, he was selling arms. So they try to paint this picture that this guy was a Russian, an arms dealer for the Russians. That's not true. The guy was working with everybody. That was how he made his money. Anyway, they asked for him and then another person who is in prison in Germany, supposedly allegedly for taking out someone who was involved in fighting Russia during the war with Chechnya. And the Russians have asked for a two and two, an equal trade. We'll give you two. We'll give you Wieland and Griner. You give us these two. And it looks like the U.S. and the Biden White House is balked. Biden has said, and I'm going to get to my clown world. This video is running long, but we saw a beautiful church. So bear with me. Just bear with me. Biden said that this is unacceptable. And he also said, and let me get to the quote here. God, let me stop walking. That'll help. Here we go. Biden called it unacceptable, and he wants her release immediately. He said that Griner's sentence is one more reminder of what the world already knew. Russia is wrongfully detaining Brittany. It's unacceptable, and I call on Russia to release her immediately so that she can be with her wife, loved ones, friends, and teammates. And they're also continuing to try and find a deal to get this prisoner swap underway. Look, it's real simple, Biden White House. call up Germany, call up Olaf Scholz, and just tell them to release this person. And they'll do it. You know they'll do it. All you have to do is make the phone call, and Germany will release this individual. So if the U.S. wants Griner and Whelan back, it's within their power. It's one call to Olaf Scholz. That's all it takes. So that's an order. Just order Germany. Yeah, that's all it takes. So Biden is taking a big hit, a really big hit from the alphabet lobby and the Hollywood actors and everyone who's pushing for Griner to come back to the United States and not spend 9 years in a Russian penal colony. A lot of pressure being placed on the State Department and on the Biden White House. And all of this pressure, and now I'm getting to my clown world, all of this pressure, according to Biden's wife, Jill, has led to Biden feeling a bit down, feeling a bit depressed. And according to Jill Biden, she's concerned about her husband's condition. The president's well-being, according to Jill Biden, is affected by his low political ratings, criticism of opponents because of his age, and ongoing illness, as well as foreign policy challenges, including the crisis in Ukraine. And this is according to CNN. So all of this pressure, Ukraine, the low approval ratings. Now he has this pressure with Brittany Griner. Griner. I always pronounce it wrong. Everyone making fun of Bidenopolis. It's got Bidenopolis feeling a bit down. He's feeling a bit sad. And Jill is concerned for Biden's health. So that is the clown world. I think we kind of brought this video kind of full circle too, in a way, didn't we? We started out talking about Elensky's panic, and Elensky's worried about his position, his well-being, his health. He knows he's going to be thrown under the bus. And here we have Jill Biden, Bidenopolis' wife, saying she's concerned about Joe's well-being, health, and who knows, maybe she is signaling that Biden, any moment now could be calling it quits. Who knows? We'll leave it there, everybody. From Belgrade, Serbia. Check out Alexander's channel. Check out the Duran's channel, theduran.locals.com, ODYSEE, Rumble, BitChute, and Telegram. Duran Shop, 10% off. Take care.